thought we were leaving. We just stopped because my wife saw a gigantic iguana, orange iguana, climbing up into a tree over here at the back park. Um, and she's trying to get it on video. So just got to CB Smith Park. It's a county park, I understand. We're just kind of getting checked in. Tons of traffic coming and going. We're kind of in the middle of the city, which is kind of cool. So we've stayed at state park campgrounds, of course, a lot of them. We've stayed at National Park Campground. We stayed at a city park campground in Orlando, and even a Port Canaveral-owned campground there at Jetty Park. But I believe this is the first county-owned campground we stayed at. It's called CB Smith Park Campground in Broward County. It is located on Flamingo Road and Pembroke Pines, just west of I-75 and Pines Boulevard. About 15-20 minutes from I-95. It's close to Fort Lauderdale and the Miami beaches. The RV sites, they have 83 full hookup sites, 30 and 50 amp, water and sewer. They have paved pull-through sites. Many are lakefront. Some are back end. Ours was a back end. That provide a picnic table and grill at each site, charcoal grill. Pets are okay. I think they do have an additional charge, like $1 per pet. They don't want you to have more than one, although I don't know how much that's being enforced based on some of the RVs there. I think the rates range around, if you're local in the county, Broward County, Palm Beach, Miami-Dade residents, I think it was around $40 a night, and then for everyone else it was like $50 or $51 a night. They've got, of course, laundry and shower houses. I guess they have Wi-Fi there, from what I could tell was advertised, but and it may be part of the fee. We didn't have to use it with the Starlink Mini, but that's an option too, it sounds like. And then you're right, you're kind of still in the city, it feels like, so the cell phone service was really strong, which was nice. In this place as well, they have, during the season, it was closed while we were there, but they have a Paradise Cove Water Park. It seemed pretty legit. Lazy river, big slides. I think you have to buy that separate. It's a separate ticket, of course. They had mini golf, batting cages, tennis, pickleball. There was regular golf, driving range of some sort. Paved trails, fishing lakes, playgrounds, bike rentals, horseshoes, all kinds of things like that. But when we left the prior stop at Jonathan Dickinson in the Jupiter area, we stopped for a quick lunch right there along Route 1, which was kind of a cool little spot called Stormhouse Brewing. Once again, I think we were kind of a little late for lunch, or it seemed like it was really dead. Like everyone was either at the beach or sleeping in or something, but we were able to walk right in and get a seat on the patio. Good food, not very busy, like I said, and we were able to park out front. There's just a parking lot of a strip mall kind of a deal, and we were able to find plenty of room to get the truck and trailer in. But we left there knowing we wanted to get lunch on the way, but next stop being CB Smith. We only were staying for 2 days. We have plans after CB Smith to go south to Biscayne National Park and then on to the Everglades National Park, of course. So we booked it for a couple days. Definitely would have stayed longer if it had worked out with our plans. It was a nice stop. So our site was a back-end site in a small loop just across from the pond. We had decent, I'd say, distance, kind of in a cul-de-sac setup between the neighbors. Not really any privacy. There's no vegetation between sites or anything like that, so not a big deal. We did have a paved lot, or the paved path for the camper to sit on, and then there was a concrete patio, which was nice. We weren't in dirt or grass or sand or anything like that. And then we ran into, probably, I think it was day one, the Muscovy ducks. These ducks were visiting frequently. They were wild, but obviously friendly, just being fed or around humans over the years. I'd say they were probably getting fed because they came right up to the camper a few different times just to hang out. And then they had a fishing pier, so we were near the pond, and then there was a pier right near our site. And then when we got there on the weekend, they had a small little power boat out there that was taking people for tube rides. It was separate. You know, you go buy I don't know if I got a sign of that.
it costed that, but it was like an hourly rate or something like that to go tubing right there in the pond. And then not far down from us, probably 2 or 3 sites, they had the laundry facilities. It looked like they were in the process of replacing a couple washing machines, though. I did talk to a few of the other campers, and evidently this is the only one in the whole campground right now. And they said it's about impossible to get laundry done on the weekend, so something to keep in mind if you can sneak in during the week. And there was a lot of 6-month-long campers here, so seasonal campers, people there for the winter. I think November through April. I did see a few like RVs, and they had their sports cars. They had a couple CA Corvettes out front, so people were down there for the season, which is nice, I guess, because you're close to Fort Lauderdale and Miami, and you're still camping at a reasonable rate, around $50 a night, and can be there for up to 6 months out of the year. So I think a lot of people were taking advantage of that. We just were in and out for 2 days. There wasn't a lot of in and out, I would say. There was a few, but majority of the people there at that campground seemed to be there for the season. And I talked to one of the gentlemen in the laundry room who was there for the season and asked if there was a monthly rate or a seasonal rate that was discounted. He said no, it's just the daily rate for this park. A lot of parks do offer a monthly rate. It's going to be a little bit cheaper than if you break it out day to day. But evidently CB Smith does, and they don't have to. They're busy enough, and I guess their pricing's good enough that they're not worried about that. Bathrooms and shower houses were nearby, clean, small shower area with not much privacy, and probably my biggest pet peeve of the shower houses is actually having hooks to hang your things, and there was like no hooks, just one outside the shower area, so you have to get creative with not wanting your stuff to sit on the floor of the shower house, of course. So but they were clean, serviceable, not a big deal. And then more of the Muscovy ducks. This one came all the way up to the camper. I think I got a video of him. I think if we opened the door and like invited him in, he may have came into the camper. We didn't, of course. And we did get the bikes out. You're in a campground, but you're in a whole park. This place has a lot of traffic. They've got ball fields and playgrounds and green space, and during the season, the water park. So there's a lot of people coming and going, not just RVs, a lot of just passenger vehicles. And you have access to the entire park once you're in the campground. So the bike riding is pretty awesome. You can, I think the whole park's like 299 total acres, including the campground, water park, sports fields, lakes, trails, picnic areas. And we rode around a little bit, and we saw the water park. It's called Paradise Cove Water Park. But like I said, it was closed for this season. And I guess in Florida, they're used to maybe the hotter temperatures. But like when it's 85, with us being from further up north, it would be plenty of warm to swim. And I don't know, maybe they don't have the staff because the people are going back to school or how that works. But it would have been nice. Some of the private pools and stuff are open year round. But it seems when you get to the state and city parks and some of the stuff, they close at the end of the season in September. But yeah, the water park looked pretty legit, especially for a county-owned park. So there's bike and walking trails all over the place. You can go cruise and hang out, not leave the park, and be able to entertain yourself. They had a fitness and workout area. My son checked out right next to the pickleball courts. There's pretty active park, people playing pickleball, and that was close to the water park as well. And of course, I can't get the bikes out without Lily getting her bike right in. She likes to run as fast as she's a sprinter, I would say, not a long distance runner. She likes to sprint, tries to chase squirrels and pull me around corners way too fast while I hold on with one hand and try not to crash. And then there's one bike path that had a bunch of roots popping up, so it was kind of a whoop section. And fortunately, we didn't go down, but Lily likes to sprint over those sections as well. We rode our bikes as much as possible because we were only there for a couple of days, but we would definitely rode more, probably every day. The weather was good, and the bike riding was really good. Oh, and we did have some wildlife here at CB Smith. Iguanas. Huge iguanas. Our biggest iguanas yet.
Huge.
We didn't see many lizards earlier on, so we were in there for 2 days or a day and a half by the time you get set up and tear down. But when we were leaving to our next stop, I think it was just a little after, it was like 12 o'clock noon, around the outside route, we saw a ton of iguanas sunbathing down at the bottom of different bases of trees. They were all hanging out at like a individual trees themselves, like that was their home base tree or something, maybe so. Their territory, maybe. But we saw a huge yellow and orange one. This thing looked like it was about 5 foot long. And then it ran up the tree before we could get video of it on the ground. My wife got a little bit of video while I was sitting in the truck trying to grab some, but they're awesome. Wild iguanas this large I've never seen before. And I know they're all over Florida, I'm sure. This was just kind of the first park where we had seen them out and pretty close. The further south we go, the larger the lizards get. Maybe that's what everyone knows down here, but it's an observation I've made. But pretty cool to see some of these guys. I don't know how friendly they would be up close. I think they would get away from you before you could get too close to them, but it's neat to see. But yeah, overall, I think I would highly recommend this place. CB Smith, this, for $51 a night, we got full hookups. Really good price, in my opinion. Out of season for the water park, which would have been cool if we could have done that. And we didn't even get to go over the batting cages or check out the driving range or do all that other stuff just because of the short turnaround. But there's a lot to do, and I see why people would stay here for 6 months out of the year. And that may be difficult to get a spot at depending how quick they reserve out, but it makes sense. There's a lot to do. You're still within the city. You're close to Fort Lauderdale, Miami. You can drive to the beaches, but you also could stay in the park and ride your bikes and enjoy it and be hooked up and have sewer and water and electric and all of that for a decent price. So I would recommend it. We would definitely go back before in town and check that out, CB Smith. But up next, we head over to Biscayne National Park for the day. We're going to do a little one-day exploring, and then we stop at a really cool Harvest Host winery nearby the national park. No campground in Biscayne National Park, so we had a one-day stay over at the winery before we head on to the next national park. And if you're still with me, I appreciate it. I'll work on getting the next one out as soon as we can, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks.